the last panel session for today at day 4 at the HR Week conference. Now we'll be hearing more stories from the Hacking HR initiative. This time there is a group of ladies from Slovenia. The moderator is Petra. She's an HR professional with L&D background, but now working as an HR business partner in Atotech, a leading brand in surface finishing solutions. She gained her experiences working in diverse international environments and in companies in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Brussels, India, and Slovenia that contributed to her openness to innovation and general agility. Petra's priorities are making this world a better place, focused on providing value to different individuals and organizations. Welcome aboard, Petra.
Hello, everyone, again. Hi, thank you.
It's nice to see you. I will let you now present your participants.
Thanks. So, welcome everybody to this session of the HR Week, brought to you by Hacking HR Ljubljana, Slovenia, actually. And thank you already for my presentation. And today we'll be joined by 3 other speakers. So first we'll start with Maja Majstorović-Hajduković, founder of Agile People Slovenia. And she strives to help leaders and HR to win with the change. And she will start on the topic of agile performance management, why to use it, and how HR can support the process. Hi, Maja.
Hi, Petra. Thank you for this lovely introduction. And I'm really grateful to be here today with you, also with our other ladies from Hacking HR Slovenia. And again, good day to all the HR Week participants who are listening to us right now. So should I start? Is it okay?
I think we have to present other speakers as well. So let me just do that so we all join and then you can continue. So then we will be joined as well by Larissa Grizio. So she will be the next one presenting with a case study of her examples. Hi, Larissa.
Hi, Petra. Hi, Maja.
Larissa is from A1 or VIP. She's a senior HR corporate communication director. And she will give us a few examples, and she will start on the topic of objectives and key results, known as well as OKRs. So welcome again.
Thank you.
And last but not least, last part of the case study will be conducted by Maruška Ozimek. She's Agile HR specialist at Bankart. And she will explain some of her international coaching experiences at the company. So hi, Maruška.
Hi.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the speakers. And we'll bring to you some of our ideas, some of our concrete examples and experiences. And we'll just start with Maja.
Thank you, Petra. Yes, our topic, performance management, development, I think that this is always an interesting topic that we are talking about in organizations, and most importantly, trying to redesign it so that we gain better results for company and, of course, engagement and development for our employees. But to be honest, when we look at some surveys or have conversations with HR colleagues, we can see that not a lot of, let's say, performance management systems or processes in use today achieve really the positive results or outcomes as much as we would like to see. So maybe we can find reason for that in our current reality, where a lot of organizations these days are still operating with, let's say, more traditional form of performance management system or development system. Here I mean working with annual cycles, setting annual goals with, let's say, mid-year reviews, and then working on completing annual goals with follow-up and performance appraisals by the end of the year. You know how it goes. And maybe they add some coaching session during the year. And having said that, and now we are experiencing in our organization that this traditional ways of performance management do not work anymore, since year is too long for one performance cycle. And we know that organizational reality is changing quickly, it's unpredictably. And of course, also, we must look at the future, not just focusing and judging the past. And maybe if you ask ourselves the question, is it still true that our boss knows our performance the best, or are there maybe other people in the organization who knows, let's say, my performance better? And when we are talking about individual goal setting, they're usually connected with payment, which leads to sandbagging, brings competition, not collaboration, and so on. Just to, let's say, say a few of the negative effects that traditional performance management brings, and they don't have value today. So to be positive, because here we are transformers and changers, what are the options and alternatives? Because at the end of the day, we still want to set goals in the organization and be successful and work in, let's say, more efficient way. And here I think that the answer could definitely be when we are designing performance management system, that we take into consideration more agile principles of working, so that we create, let's say, performance development concept in a more agile way, something like that. So if I continue, how this more agile approach in organizations, when we redefine performance development, looks like, then we can say that the whole idea is that we are, let's say, moving more to continuous coaching and feedbacks through regular conversations, not this just once time per year or something like that. So we split these conversations into several smaller sessions through the year. And then again, we are moving more to quarterly or monthly goal setting with something that is really important to have regular check-ins. And of course, we are adding more continuous reviews and recognitions by peers, managers, team leaders, not just our managers, as we are maybe used to it. And of course, as said before, we still want to increase performance through goal settings. And here we can work with objectives and key results, so OKRs, as well as on personal side, team and organizational level. And we are also moving away from, let's say, ranking. So, but if we still have ranks, they need to be connected with growth, learning, and continuous development. So just to name a few, let's say, principles or ideas when we are moving towards more agile performance management, or what are the changes that are taking place. But as you said, Petra, before, I'm really looking forward to hear later on Larissa and Marushka, who will share their concrete examples of agile performance practices in their company. So I think that this is something that will be really, really valuable for all of us to hear.
Maya, can you tell me as well, how can we actually start to redesign this process? So where do we, where is the beginning of this?
Yeah, great question. Of course, let's start at the beginning. So from my perspective, I think it's quite important that we know what's the value we want to bring in our company and what type of culture we want to support, so that we are then able to best support our talents, performance needs, and sense of purpose, with also clear expectations, ongoing feedback, and coaching. So the, let's say, role of HR here should be definitely co-creating performance solutions together with our customers, which are in organization, our managers, employees, and then test solutions and get feedback and adapt and implement them. But to be even more, let's say, specific on your questions, how to start, and maybe something seems like overwhelming to do this like big thing at the beginning. So if we don't want to go all in at one time with changing performance systems, then maybe I can suggest to just start, let's say, to change your performance conversations and start making quick modifications there. So as said before, split conversations into smaller sessions through the year, not just 1 or 2 per year, but maybe 2 per month or something. And from my experience, it's really valuable to lead these conversations maybe as a retrospective meeting. So retrospective questions are really great for increasing collaboration, learning, improvement, development, and so on. So just to say few of small steps that can be done quickly and immediately.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing there are many HR professionals here as well on the call. So can you give some tips on how should actually HR support this process of bringing, you know, the traditional to modern performance management?
Yeah, of course. As I said before, all this agile transformation goes also for us HR specialists. So I think here to help create all these new solutions, to try to co-create, let's say, performance solutions together and do a lot of testing, get feedback, and then implement. I think that this new maybe mindset shift is really necessary. And of course, try it in our teams. This is something that we can try tomorrow immediately, not to wait on other colleagues.
Great, thanks, Maya. I will actually now go to Larissa with the question, because actually you started doing in practice some of the modern approaches that Maya is talking about, and you have implemented OKRs. Can you tell us why was the need for these new processes, new ways of working, and walk us through a bit of through that?
Yeah, of course, gladly. Thank you. I can first say that I can fully subscribe what Maya already said, because this was actually our pet, you know, so far. And of course, we were the same as the other companies, having performance management like for ages. And of course, our old performance management was yearly based, with at the beginning of the year setting the goals and at the end having a performance review with your manager. But actually during this performance review discussion, you were more or less waiting for manager to say, okay, what's the money I will get? More or less. I mean, let's be honest. So of course we didn't want to have this. This was the first reason. Then the second thing, I mean, I'm now really somehow pointing out what were the reasons for change, let's say, in our company. The second thing was that, I mean, we are a big company. In Slovenia, we have more than 600 employees. In Serbia, more than 1,300. So in total, we are 2,000 people organization. And I can say really, I mean, this is like one company, as we have one leadership team, so one CEO and leadership team members, 6 of them, they are all dealing with both countries, so actually both companies. So we are also, I mean, we are the voice of one, and also in terms of our goals and behaviors and values, and of course, I mean, in general, strategic goals quite aligned. Of course, there are market realities different, but nevertheless, in general, the path is more or less the same. So we, as we are really big, and in every big company happens that silos becomes to happen. So I mean, big sectors which are working and behaving like separate organizations, and this started to happen also with us. And of course, we also wanted to somehow break the silos. The third reason for change was that actually, I mean, in this VUCA world, things are changing fast, and you cannot set up the goals which would last like for a year or even more. You need to align to the current reality, and of course, having yearly goals didn't make any sense anymore. And the fourth goal, actually, I mentioned it before already. We really didn't see the reason to have the performance discussion and development connected with the rewards directly, because somehow it lost the momentum. I mean, especially with the performance and development talk. So these were the reasons. So how we started then, let's say, transforming. Actually, the year one was already last year, but we did it really like a light version. We, as a leadership team, we started to set up like, let's say, a long-term priorities, but then quarterly communicating what are the priorities on a quarterly basis. And we didn't really push employees to transfer in their target setting in the same way. We wanted somehow to adjust the organization a bit on a different kind of modus operandi. But then end of last year, we decided that we really need to somehow, that our performance development process and system needs to completely align with what kind of life and business we are doing. So we set up a team. Actually, it was, I mean, a small HR team with the support of Agile coaches. Actually, we really did a design thinking approach here. We defined what are the key values which we want to bring out of it. Then, of course, we definitely checked a lot with managers and employees what did they like in previous system, what do they miss, what they would like to have. Also, if they would have like a magic wand, how the process would look like. And so we started crafting. And it was a relatively short process. Actually, it could be done quite quick, you know. I mean, if you know what you are focused on and if you really see what value could be brought out of it, then you can be really quick, and you should be quick. So actually, it was like 2-3 weeks of a discussion and preparation, and then we launched it. And out from the launch on, I think the communication is really the key. You know, I was just checking, and actually this year, on average, we communicated at least 3 times a month on an organizational level. What are our strategic goals? What have we achieved? What we haven't achieved, and what we will be doing in the next month or quarter or whatever. 3 times a month. Actually, that means that, I mean, beside this, what our managers and employees are discussing regularly on their individual goals. So communication is really key. Top-down and peer-to-peer, sharing successes, etc. Our performance, our OKR system is actually called ROAD. And this is the acronym for Relevant Orientation Active Development. So out of this acronym, it can be clearly seen what our focus is. So we want that goals of our employees are aligned to our strategic directions or goals on the quarterly basis, so that our employees see how they can contribute to a greater goal or greater good. So they see the meaning out of it. They set the goals by themselves, of course, aligned with their managers, but especially with the, so frequent communication of our strategic goals is quite easy to somehow align your goals with the company goals. So this is one. And then, of course, the second part is development. We really put the most of the emphasis on the development part. So what do I need to, let's say, improve or do even better to help myself and organization to succeed in terms of my development? So this is the process. We have quite frequent check-ins. We propose that check-ins between manager and employees are happening at least on a bi-weekly basis. And all our goals in the system are completely transparent to all our colleagues. So whoever is interested, what goals I have set for myself, can go into the system and take a look. And actually, I can take a look of the goals of my CEO, my peers, whoever. And I think this transparency as well is as well quite crucial. So I don't want to be too long, so I better that I stop.
This is amazing. I'd never heard that companies wouldn't connect performance with reward. It's a different ways, a really different way of thinking. So you have to be brave to implement something like that. But Larissa, tell me, did you have as well any obstacles with implementing that? Because it sounds like quite a big project, something new. Were they anything that wasn't so smooth on the path of introducing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite important to have somehow supporters and ambassadors from early on. So this is why it's really important that the initial stage, when you are in, let's say, in design thinking process, when you collect feedback from managers, you see who is somehow a quick adopter and onboard him on this journey. I think this is quite important. So we had quite a lot of these kind of managers and employees early on. The second thing, actually, you mentioned, wow, you were brave, you disconnect work and performance. Of course, this was also seen as obstacle by our employees. So we somehow needed, and we did. I mean, we have two other programs, actually recognition programs, which we launched, one last year and one this year, which is connected with the rewards and recognition, but not directly linked just to the goals which are set in your performance system, but more with how you behave, how you show the values in action, how you support others, what kind of extra miles did you do. But these rewards are really meant to be given at the point or at the time when something great really happens, not after a year time. So we changed a bit the logic.
No, that's great. And yeah, I guess the support is as well really crucial. And that is something as well that Marushka and the company Bankart were trying to do, this internal coaching and getting support internally. So Marushka, can you maybe relate to what Larissa already said and give us your example of how you did that internally?
Yeah, great, thank you. Yes, we when we talked about performance and which are the methods that have an additional positive effect on productivity and overall employee satisfaction, we wanted to focus on development and by this ensure everyday effectiveness so that every person has a chance to talk about their own experiences through work and what can be done better or different or maybe experiment a bit. So we decided while we were gathering information from employees, what do they need to be more effective or efficient, if you want. They said that having someone to talk about ideas to brainstorm and then put some action on it, we really saw that the competence of coaching is the one that could answer most of our questions. So what is the key focus here? We wanted that every employee in our company has his or her own coach. And we wanted to make sure that this role is separated from the first functional manager. So the differentiation between the functional manager, who's a professional, who knows the technicalities, who delegates work, and of course is a leader in a modern way, but also have someone that is in a role of a coach. We call them people managers, and they always focus on developing employees by using their coaching competencies. And when we implemented this in our company, we really saw that the creativity comes out of it. So When you talk about a certain issue you have at work, when you talk about some obstacles you run into while you work, you sometimes, or if I say most of the times, you talk about this issue. And if you have someone that gives you an attention towards what can be done, what do you think are the right solutions for it, you start to think about different ideas that you never thought of it. Someone helps you to really brainstorm within yourself and find those potentials that can be taken and implemented in a certain workload. And really saw that having those types of conversation actually brought new initiatives. The ideas were more innovative than before, and really saw that giving people someone that they can talk about their issues will eventually bring them to being more effective at work. Um, but if I just may add, this kind of setup is really different from traditional one. Like Maya said at the beginning, um, it really distinguishes between the roles of a manager, as we know in a traditional sense, and a coach that is actually someone else that doesn't have a direct impact on your salary and your I don't know, maybe your promotion. It can have some say in it, but doesn't have a direct effect. So, changing the mindset that someone in a company has a manager and a people manager that is in a role of a coach is probably the biggest obstacles we run into while implementing it. But it was actually a good starting point to talk about. So, what are the benefits? What are the main reasons we wanted to implement that? And the bottom line is that this kind of conversations, coaching, um, really supports creativity. And by being creative at work, you are most likely to be more efficient and, bottom line, even more satisfied with your work. So it really is a full circle. But as I said before, it's a process. So the first thing is to build trust, to align that everyone in the company sees this as a benefit, and then to just communicate about it, communicate about the benefits. And when you get a positive experience from yourself, you really come on board with it, I think.
Yeah. Who was the main ambassador of this change? Let's say, who was the one driving this change forward? Did it come from HR, from the board of directors, or did you work together? How did you implement this? Because sometimes it's really hard to get people on board with really innovative new things.
Yes. Well, I think it has to be a collaborative decision between HR and, of course, top management. And when you present an idea like this, there are certain people that will go on board quite quickly, that can relate to it, that can understand the meaning behind it, the benefits. And I think those people, like Larissa said, that are the first to come forward are the ones that have an ambassador role for this kind of initiatives. So if I look at our case in Bankart, um, all of our people managers are ambassadors of this kind of principles of work. So it really comes down to explaining the benefits, seeing who are the ones that relate to it the most, and using their experiences and their knowledge to promote some this kind of initiatives in a company.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the cases. And the question to all three of you, maybe. So, if you can tell me what is actually an added value to introduce these new topics to people, or actually maybe just an advice to HR professional that are on the road to implementing changes in performance management. So what would you tell them how to think? What advice would you give them on their, let's say, road to success of innovation?
Okay, if I start, for me personally, it's really important that we know that we are changing behaviors. So this is a process, and I think the biggest emphasis must be on building trust. Having a perfect case, a perfect initiative, a perfect method will do nothing if people don't trust you. They're doing it for you, for people. So building trust, don't rush it. Take time, step by step, and don't force it. Maybe that comes with it, but going through positive experiences, I believe that every positive experience will get you closer to the goal of becoming more agile in the world of performance.
Yeah, okay, maybe I will continue. In general, I would say company can succeed if it knows well what it needs to succeed. So priorities first to be set up, and of course communicated and understood by all. It's key. It's just key. Performance development can be really a great communication tool for explaining, defining, our key priorities as organization. So this is one. And then I would actually continue with key psychological needs or intrinsic motivators of our employees. I mean, performance development, if set well and done well, it really supports great autonomy, relatedness, and competence. And this is it.
Thanks.
Yeah, maybe just to add, of course, agree totally with both amazing ladies. Listen to our people and ask ourselves, why are we doing these processes? Not because this is our HR project, but because there has to be a benefit for us, for put the value to our people. So I would say definitely when changing all these cycles, processes, ideas, as we want to call it, put focus and value on our people, ask ourselves as an organization, why are we doing this? What's the purpose? If you want to try, if you want to have a coaching, okay, what can we do here if we need a different goal setting? So there is that saying, no size fits all. We have to find different paths, and also trust, transparency. This is definitely name of the game, and knowing our intrinsic motivations combined with values with the organization and for HR, because we are all here HR people, start first. Be the voice, be the change that we want to see in others. Not to be too philosophical, but then again, we're HR, so we can do it.
As we still have some time, I would still maybe like to know from Marushka and Larissa, because they gave us the case studies. What were your maybe key learnings? In a few sentences, really, what is that was a key learning for you personally implementing this? And yeah, if you would have done anything differently in this process.
I mean, I think I said already several times, but really communication is key here. I mean, if you do not communicate frequently, I would even say over communicate at the beginning, then you are lost. I mean, for sure, you cannot develop things. You need to communicate and communicate, of course, what it is seen for me, for all the different personas in organization, and adjust on the way if there is a need. Maybe this.
Maybe Larissa, sorry, Marushka, just a second. I have a question in the chat, and it's a bit connected with what you were saying already before. How do you manage to keep the frequent and consistent performance discussion with all the employees? And who is taking the role of the evaluator, so the coach during this process?
So actually, I don't know. I mean, could be that not really bi-weekly check-ins are happening. It could also be that weekly check-ins are happening, or maybe monthly check-ins are happening. But we really, I mean, give the responsibility of the performance and development in the hands of employees. This is the tool for them to use, to do, I mean, to know what is expected from them, how they can contribute to the bigger, let's say, greater goal. So this is what really performance development at the core is, you know, to know what is, to know how you can contribute to organizational success. I mean, we teach or train in the discussions or trainings with managers and employees how important is that frequent feedback is happening. So I mean, maybe there are more feedbacks, not just by managers, also by peers. As I said, all our goals are completely transparent to all, so everyone can see your goals. But actually, it's not really important to now calculate whether 100% of check-ins happened. Important is whether we grow as organization, we are aligned, and we learn as individuals. And of course, we feel motivated and engaged on the way forward.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
But I mean, maybe nevertheless, one statistic, I mean, we have more than 90% of our employees who are setting quarterly targets and performance and development goals. More than 90%, knowing that we have more than 2,000 employees in the cluster, and actually out of these 2,000 employees, there are a lot of sales advisors and customer service agents. So actually, I would say people who are not really like specialists, you know, but still we have more than 90% of our employees entering the goals and development plans. I think this is a success already, you know. I mean, people would choose it if they would not see some benefit out of it.
Numbers speak for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Marushka as well, the same question for you here. Who is taking a role of the coach actually in during the whole process? Do you have people assigned? How does it work?
Yes, we do have people assigned. There's a group of people managers, coach. I think we are at around 25, 30 of us. And we were in a training by a certified expert to learn how to properly coach, use this competence. And we have a structure who has talks with who in the company. Every employee has his own coach.
Okay, good. Or I don't see any more questions for anybody. So, okay. Maybe for Maya then, to conclude this conversation as well, you were telling us, you know, modern versus traditional. Yeah, why do we actually have to switch to modern? There are many employees, many managers that are telling us it's working, everything is fine as we have. So why to switch? Have you any advice on that?
Yeah. I would just say that by adding more agile perspective or values to your performance cycle definitely leads to increased productivity and, what is more important, to higher engagement of our employees, or to be happy at the end of the day. But I would just say start experimenting and see which practice works the best for you, have the evidence, and then start a big movement. So just start changing something with little steps.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, all three of you, for this insight. Thank you for being here in Hacking HR. So you have brought really concrete ideas. I hope together we can keep hacking really HR and bring innovation to this field of work. So thank you for all the great ideas and examples.